Okay, well, my name's Mark Thomas, and we're at Vinyl Countdown, which has now been here for coming up 15 years in October, which is quite amazing, really. When I first opened this business, it was just going to be I was going to be in New Plymouth just for 6 months or something, because we'd shifted up from Wellington. I didn't quite know what we were going to be doing, so I didn't think we'd still be here 15 years later, it's quite amazing, really, to think that what started as a bit of an experiment has lasted that long. So I've been in record stores pretty much all my life. I started working part-time in a shop way back in 1993 or something in Te Awamutu, and then I opened when the warehouse opened in Te Awamutu, I was in charge of the music counter there, and then real groovy Auckland for a few years, then overseas in London packing music in a warehouse, in the Warner Brothers warehouse, back to real groovy Auckland. Then we opened real groovy Wellington, and I was there for 10 years. We ended up buying it off the receivers at that stage in 2008, and then after that things went a bit south there, so we ended up coming up here. We didn't know what we were going to do, and that's when we decided to open another shop.
Yeah, cool.
And it's still going.
Yeah, great. I remember when you guys opened, must have been about 13 or something, I don't know.
Yeah, well that's been quite a funny thing, really, the fact that people who are in their young teens and that when we first opened are now almost in their 30s, you know, and it's just gone by so fast. But like when we first opened, we opened on Brougham Street. We had a shop there and it was only 3 months. It was going to be 6 months, but it just didn't really suit what we wanted. And then this site came up. That Brougham Street one was a good way to test whether it was going to work or not. And I think the first month that we opened, there was the launch of the Sticky Filth album, Fourth Domain, so that was a good way to sort of kick it off.
I remember.
Yeah.
What's the oldest record that you have in the shop? Do you know?
The oldest one? I don't really know. I mean, there's so many records. I mean, just out the back here, there's 15,000 I haven't even processed yet. But I did find one the other day. I was going through these 7 singles up here, and I found a record in there that it was actually like not homemade, but it was from the Timaru recording studio, and it was meant to be a 45 size, but it was on shellac material, so it was like a 78. And then we played it, and it was someone recording a message to their family back in Europe about a wedding. And we've been trying to research who that might have been and when it might have been recorded. We think that could have been in maybe the late 40s.
Wow.
So that could be the oldest one I've got in here. I mean, it's hard to say. There's definitely some 78s here that were probably made in the 30s, hanging around. But that one was a cool one because it was a bit of a mystery, and my daughter's actually been trying to figure out who the people were who were talking on it and where they might be now.
Have there been any unusual or surprising moments since you started Final Countdown?
What, today? I mean, man, it's almost constant, you know. The stories, people say I should write a book about some of the stuff that's happened in here, but it's almost every day something funny happens. I get lots of eccentric people coming in, which is sort of, record shops can be a bit of a magnet for people like that, which is cool, keeps it interesting. I mean, I had a woman and a child hide back here once from an abusive guy who just out of court, you know, and was trying to find her, and she said, "Can I please hide back here?" That happened once. I used to have, there's a guy who unfortunately died in a house fire last Christmas, Dion Thompson, and he used to come in here every day. He was in a wheelchair and he had cerebral palsy, and he was a massive metal fan, big fan of our band, and so, you know, you get to talk to people like that who in most other jobs you wouldn't make contact with, you know. Eugene, who you know very well, I love talking to him. He comes in and brings me t-shirts he's printed, and, you know, just that wouldn't happen in any other place probably, you know. But yeah, there's always interesting and cool things happen. Like when WOMAD's on, you get some of those big names coming shopping in here. Adrian Sherwood's been digging for vinyl in here. I've had don't know if you know the guy called Gurumul. He was an Aboriginal singer. He died a few years ago, but he was in here. I think it was about 10 years ago for Womad with his minder, his manager, and all he wanted was John Farnham tapes, which I managed to get him. So just weird, quirky things like that happen all the time.
Yeah.
Just the nature of the shop, I think.
Cool. Is there a record or an artist that you would never stock?
Well, I did have a once on the record store they had a free to a bad home box that people could take, and that was full of things like Rolf Harris and Bill Cosby and who else was in it? That sort of thing.
Do you have any favourite local bands or musicians?
Oh man, there's loads. I mean, we've been to a number of gigs up at the Asgard or 8 Ball as it was known. I used to love going to watch Ots. They were great. I find Eugene's stuff really compelling in a funny way. You know, like it's such earnest music and he's so passionate about it. Avon Rose, I think, are really great. They have recorded their stuff almost like live in the room, and they seem to have captured some sort of alternative sounding grungy heavy thing, which they're pretty cool. I mean, Sticky Filth, I mean, they're a great institution. There's loads. I mean, I could just name almost everybody. Courtney and her band, they're doing great things. There's a new band called Empty Air, which are solid, you know, so heaps.
It's a good name.
Yeah, it is great. Yeah, and they're sort of half of what was the Gatekeepers, and can't remember what the band the other two were in, but they're the twins. So yeah, amazing. You know, they could go places. So it's a thriving scene, and we have to put it really down to having somewhere to play, which is, and we've always had. There's been places like Decanter and that, but I think with 8 Ball and then Asgard, having a massive PA like that in capacity for a big crowd is quite a big thing for the city.